What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Podcast. Today, we're going to be chatting with Navy veteran, motivational speaker, and artist Timothy Wright. I'm so thankful for my brother taking time out of his day. He's very busy working on his craft every single day, and I would not want to waste time. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. One thing I want to say is please, 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 please go and listen to Racks In. It's streaming on all platforms. I love the song. I think there's so many powerful messages behind it. So make sure you do that, and let's jump straight into this conversation. Are you thinking about making a podcast? Spotify has a platform that lets you make one, and if I can figure it out, you definitely can too. You can create your own content all in one place for free with zero hangups and even earn money as soon as you get started. Spotify lets you record and edit episodes from your phone or computer so you can go mobile, just like I enjoy to do. My favorite thing about it is that you can create video episodes if you wish and upload them to wherever podcasts are heard. You can even set up subscriptions, or if you're like me, listener support options for listeners to help you grow. I 10 out of 10 recommend the Spotify for Podcasters app. Or, why don't you just step over to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started on your own podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Deep Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eddie, and today I'm joined with the man, the myth, the Smith and Wesson himself, Himothy. I am so excited for the amazing song that just came out, Racks In. Go stream now on Spotify, YouTube. Just talk to God. He'll find a way to point you in the right direction. But get out there and listen to it because it is another banger. Straight out of the D. What's up, brother? Thank you for joining me.
What's up, King? Man, I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, let's start at the beginning. What was it like growing up for you as a child? What was music always something you were interested in, or where did it start?
With music, where to start? Okay, so I'll talk about where I was a child first. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, born and raised. Just trying to do whatever I can. I think I was like a very regular kid. I didn't have very big ambitions, no big goals, nothing like that. I was just living life. And as I got a little older, I played basketball, I played sports, so I was very competitive. But, I graduated high school. Like I said, I was just a very regular guy. Just, wasn't trying to do anything big with my life. And when I got out of high school, though, I started to feel like I wasn't doing anything. I was just playing video games. I was working at Foot Locker. I used to work at a Valley View Mall here in Dallas, Texas. And yeah, that's all I did every day. I was a pothead, smoke weed all day, go play video games, and then go to work the days I had to be at work. I just felt like I was kind of wasting my life. So I remember there was a recruiter. So I joined the military. There was a recruiter who came. He used to come into my office, come into the shop all the time and buy shoes and stuff. But he was in the Air Force. But he was always dressed nice. Always had a haircut. Just really sharp. So I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna try to join the Air Force. He seemed like he always make money. He talked about how he make money every 2 weeks consistently. He seemed like he's doing better than us. And I just want to do something different. So I was going down to the Air Force office. I actually was doing that for about 2 months. And, the guy was just kind of giving me the runaround. I took the ASVAB, the pre-ASVAB, and I failed it. When I failed it, I guess he thought all right, you're not going to be able to join anyway. So he kind of was he kind of wrote me off. So what I did, though, is I went to his office one day. I was trying to talk to him yo, man, I'm trying to join the forces, bro, and he wasn't there. And as I was leaving out, I looked into the recruiter's office for the Navy, and it was 3 Black people in there, and that's what drew me in. I'm just walk in here and see what they're talking about. And then I walked in, and I actually seen a girl. Her name was Bianca. She joined the military maybe 2 years before I did, and me seeing her face up there, somebody that I recognized. And, I just kind of went with it from there. I actually pretty much joined the military without even telling my parents. I did that first. And then I told them yeah, Mom, I'm finna join the Navy. I was already 18. So yeah. I didn't get into music though until after I got out the Navy. I just started making music maybe this last 8 months or so. I used to make little beats, make little songs and stuff before I joined the Navy, just out of fun. But it was never anything serious. I never thought I was going to be an artist, or never thought I was going to make music at all. It's just something that kind of came over me earlier in 2022.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I they want to definitely thank you for your service as always. There's nothing more important than our nation's men and women leaving the military and becoming successful. Success looks very differently for a lot of different people, and for some people, it's just waking up and brushing your teeth every single day, like you speak about pretty regularly. That consistency, the three vitamins you need: discipline, confidence, and an action plan. Those are so vitamin C, B, and D and A. Those are
Yeah,
a couple of different things that are super important.
yeah.
Success seems like so many different people just can't find the avenues. What is one way to start a successful transition once you leave the military?
That's a great question. I think before you do that, you want to get all the value that the military has to offer. Now, I'm not saying stay in the military, but what I am saying is that, the pitch that was presented to someone who went to the military, they were pitched benefits. I know that for a fact. They were pitched free college, which is true, by the way. But when people start to make that transition out the military, what I've learned is that people are so sick and tired of the military. They don't recognize what it's done for them, how much it's truly helped them. So they start to look past the resources that the military has for them. So if someone is getting out the military, I would recommend them first, you need to go to TAPS class and learn about disability. Learn about what you are entitled. You have money, residual money that's entitled to you forever. You guys know how long ever is?
Until
Has
you
anybody
die.
has anybody ever offered you money forever? Like, do you know how long that is? There's benefits in the military. Anybody who's in the military or is on their way out that you are entitled to because you went into the service. That's a beautiful word. I would recommend making sure that you get everything that you're entitled to first. Maybe you want to go to college for a couple of years just to kind of get your feet wet. You can go to school and get BAH. They provide you with basic housing allowance, so you can get disability and basic housing allowance, and probably not need to work for a job and make just as much as money you're making in the military. I'll do that first, because what that's going to do is that's going to give you what I like to call floaties. I'm very big on having floaties. Floaties is consistent money that allows you to try things and trace your dreams in life. And the more things that you try, the more things that you'll come across that may give you a little bit of residual income. You learn it, you get skillful at it, you master it, and then it may yield you $300 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month on top of what you were getting in the military, because you asked about people who are transitioning out of the military. And then I recommend trying as many things as you need to. People won't tell you this. I recommend trying as many things as you need to figure out what you're called to do. A lot of people like to box people in, and my whole goal with making music is being multifaceted. And if you Google what the word multifaceted means, it's describing a diamond. When you look at a diamond, there's so many ways to see the complexity of the diamond. It has so many different facets on it, right? Us as human beings, we have the same thing. There are so many different things that makes you, King. There's so many things about you. It's not one thing. It's not one thing that makes you who you are. It's a bunch of things. It's a conglomerative of things that make you unique. But we forget that when we get into fields. We think that I'm not a multifaceted individual. I am a rapper, let's just say. It will be ignorant for me to tell you that I'm a rapper as if that's the only thing that I am. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It'd be ignorant for me to tell you, like, nah, man, I'm a businessman. No, I don't make music. I'm a businessman. Like, I have real businesses. I have businesses that generate me money every month. It would be weird for me to tell you that that's all that I am, because that's not true. We're multifaceted. We're multifaceted. So I say that again to say I would encourage people to do as many things as they feel like they need to do so they can figure out the things that they're called to do. And I think that will truly set people up. I think a lot of us are afraid of failure. And we're afraid of what people think. So like we don't want to seem like that we're jumping from thing to thing because we care about what people think. But if you didn't care about what people think, you would jump from thing to thing because you're trying to get somewhere. There's somewhere you want to go. There's a feeling that you're chasing in life, and you may get into a field that you realize isn't for you. Don't be afraid to make that transition. Do it right away. Do it as soon as you start to feel it. But make sure it's not because you're giving up on yourself. Make sure it's actually because you know, like, is this something that you can see yourself doing forever? The type of person that I am, I'm questioning, what is it that you want to do forever? Because it's more than just money. If you can dedicate yourself to something, you can create it to be anything, literally. And we've seen it time and time again. Like, no one can convince me that that's not true. We've seen people have an idea in their head, like the headphones you have in your head right now. Those guys have probably made 100 million for them headphones. 100 million. The microphone that you have right now, that's probably $1 billion company. And it started with an idea, a human being, a man or a woman just like you or me, who decided they were going to try something. You can't name me one billionaire who started one thing and that's the thing that made them rich. They did a bunch of things to figure out the thing that was going to make them rich. They had a desire, and they didn't let other people's opinion keep them in a field that they wasn't supposed to be in. And they didn't let other people's opinion stop them from transitioning into multiple things to figure out what they're supposed to do long term. So again, when somebody is transitioning out of the military, it's going to take some time for you to transition out of the mentality, the mindset, more than anything. If someone is trying to get out the military and let's say become an entrepreneur, we are going to naturally assume in our head when we get that DD-214 that we're free. Oh man, I'm free. Like, I can do whatever I want. I don't got to go to work for nobody anymore. Like, I can do whatever I want. And as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Out of the abundance in the heart, the mouth speaks. For you to say that is because you actually think that. And that ain't true.
No, definitely not.
Nah. No. That's not true at all. Freedom isn't free. I want you guys to remember that. Freedom ain't free at all. And you have to do what you need to do as quickly and as hard and as committed as you can so you can do whatever you want to do as long as you can. But it's not the opposite. It's not the opposite. It's not the other way around. It's not, I'm going to do whatever I want to do so I can do whatever I need to do. No. You got to do whatever you need to do. It's not free. You know, that's why I love the military, because my habits of waking up early, feeling like I need to be doing things throughout the day. I'm grateful for that, because I'm seeing people on the outside of the military and they wake up whenever their eyes open and, you know, they believe, man, I do whatever I want. And that's honestly, I'm just be real. It's not a good mentality to have. You can do whatever you want, but you have to discipline yourself. The man or the woman who can walk a straight and narrow path by choice and not by force will be the man or woman who lives life with choices.
100%. Absolutely. I love it. I love your insight. I love the way you look at it. There's so much can be gained from discipline. We can apply it to bodybuilding. When someone is dieting consistently, when someone is fueling their fire with the proper supplements, the proper exercises, the proper cardiovascular endurance, you know, the more you do it, you don't burn fat just by eating pizza and stepping on a treadmill and say, all right, well, I'm just going to burn it off. You're going to stay the same. You have to train insanely to bring change, to force it. You have to break down your muscles and refuel them with good, high quality food, complex carbs, proteins, everything you need to help your dopamine levels stay calm and relaxed, to make sure that you're not dealing with too much cortisol, stress factor. Stress is a killer for testosterone and fat killing and all these things. One thing that I want to touch on that you brought up is choosing the right avenues and having multiple different ways to find success, because success is just one word. And I hate boxes just as much as you do. I hate when people say society says you need to be this or that, or this is what you are. I don't identify. You don't ask me if you asked me what I did, I wouldn't tell you either. I work on elevators and escalators. I do so many different things, because my happiness is not determined by my job title. That's just one form of income. So I think that's absolutely amazing. What is one of the most important things that you learned from the military? One of those lessons that you spoke about?
Biggest lesson I learned from the military. It's a great question. I'm glad you asked me that. I haven't had anybody ask me that before. The greatest lesson I learned from the military: do not be conformed, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. It it's so easy to be tricked into this identity of who you believe you are based on your environment. And then based on the success that you have in that environment. So let's say if somebody joins the military and then they struggle with making rank, not because they're not a good individual, but because they're a bad test taker. Their identity can now be tricked, and they could believe that they're not supposed to be successful. They could believe that they're not destined to be a winner. They could believe they're not supposed to be a leader, because in order for you to be a leader in the military, you have to, pass a test. Well, in the Navy anyway. But I would say that the biggest lesson was I learned to not be conformed. I learned to be me. And, I stepped into leadership early. God really blessed me. Like I said, I was a pothead, super introverted before I joined the military. Nothing wrong with smoking weed, but I was a pothead and introverted. So it had a cloud over me. I didn't want to do anything. But I joined the Navy and I became the RPOC of my division, which is the recruit chief petty officer. I was in charge of my entire division. It was 96 gentlemen, 91 of us. I was 19. And, the oldest guy in there was like 37. And I'm leading a group of men. And it opened me up to make me realize that, like, wow, I can lead people. I'm somebody. But it wasn't because I'm trying to be like them, though. I was just being like me. But then that carried into the military. You join the military. Like, I remember people used to always say that I was Joe Navy. Oh man, you so Joe, you shine your boots, you iron your uniform, you really care about this stuff. And I'm like, damn, like, this is my life. Like, I'm in the Navy, like, you wake up and go to work every day. You have duty sometime on the weekend. Like, you're a sailor. Like, you're not nobody. Like, your identity is you're in the military, and that's a piece of an identity. So I was taking it very seriously, though. But for me, not being conformed to what they were doing and just being regular, not studying, not getting my airpin, they were just kind of hanging out, taking advantage of the military, but not taking it granted, but not taking advantage. I recognized that I had an edge, and it helped me, propel me in the military. And then once I started to realize that I could turn that into entrepreneurship and turn it into monetization and make money, that was the thing that stuck with me. I seen one of my leaders. He was a rank above me, and we were getting ready to go on deployment. And what startled me was he pulled up his Navy Federal account. He wasn't trying to, like, show everybody, but he pulled it up like he didn't care who saw it. And this is a grown man. And this is no disrespect to anybody. I'm just telling you my perspective. This is a grown man, and he had 2 kids and a wife, and he had like $1,200 in his account. And I was like, that woke me up, because he was in charge of me. He telling me what to do, and success and failure leaves clues. When you're following somebody, you could literally watch where they're taking you. Like, if you look at their life, you can almost see where they would kind of lead you. And how crazy is it of me to be led by somebody? And no disrespect, again, I want to make sure I say that. For my life, for what I want for my family, how crazy would it be for me to be listening to the man who making me feel bad about where I'm at? He's a grown man, with barely $1,000 in the account with 2 kids. And again, I say that again, no disrespect, but it was a mind shift for me to, like, is that my future? Is that where I'm going if I stay in the military? Now, I had more money than that at the time. So, but still, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, it's people like that who lead these sailors, telling them what to do, how they should be young men and women, and what they should be doing with their life, and how they should be growing up and being men. It's just like, no way. There's no way that I could be in his shoes, making what he making, living the lifestyle that he living. I want to ball. I ain't gonna lie. So, all those things were things that kind of, to answer your question, though, don't be conformed.
Don't be conformed. Yeah, I love that's a very, very powerful example, because I had a similar experience, and I don't think I could stay in that situation and be okay with a mediocre life. And I don't say it because the military is mediocre. I say it because doing one thing is mediocre. You know, you have to have be multifaceted, as you brought up.
Yep.
One thing that is very apparent in how you speak, in how you share stories, in how you articulate just your thoughts normally, is that you definitely have a continuation of knowledge. Every single day you must be feeding your mind, because it's definitely not going to stay the same. So what do you do regularly to make sure that you're ingesting the proper mental food so that you are growing consistently?
Mental food. I like that. So I listen to podcasts. I watch YouTube videos. I read books every day. And I do mean it. I do mean it. You know, some people may say every day and they may skip a day, but it's not even natural. Like at this point, like I can't skip a day. Like you know how people, like, let's say you have a favorite artist. A woman's favorite artist is Brent Faiyaz. You know, Brent Faiyaz is an amazing artist and people just love listening to his music. You know, people really listen to music from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. My little sister does that. For me, it's natural for me to go to YouTube and search, you know, Earl Nightingale, search Ed Milet, Les Brown, Inky Johnson, you know, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, individual. What I'm very big on is researching people who've done it, who have what I want. I want to be a multi-millionaire, you know, I want multiple homes. I want to do stuff. I want to have multiple nonprofits, you know, Boys and Girls Club. I want to make an impact on the world. You know, I want to be I want to have a dynasty, you know, like if I pass away, it's no doubt that I lived on earth. That's my overall goal in life. But what was your question again? I want to make sure I answered that.
Just how do you consume knowledge regularly, and what ways do you do it?
Yeah, what ways do I do it? YouTube is big. YouTube University. YouTube is Yale. Google is Harvard. YouTube is Yale. Google is Harvard. Any question that I have, I can literally just type it on Google. Literally, any question, like exactly how I thought about it is how I would go to Google and, hey, Google, where can I find the best pizza in Texas? And Google will give you some suggestions. So it's the same thing with business. It's literally, you know, you can Google YouTube, how do I make $1 million? And you will find all the gurus on there showing you a bunch of different ways on how there's money to be made. But then, you know, once you start to get through the fluff and you find people who've actually done it, you research them and you find out about them, you know, you dig a little deeper and you kind of attach yourself to particular speakers, particular leaders, and, you know, you kind of follow their lead. I have people that I follow their lead. I like to do stuff how they're doing it. I've seen how it's changed their life, but more importantly, how it's changed their family's life. Somebody like Ed Milet, for example. I recommend anybody in the world to listen to Ed Milet, EDMYLETT. Just Google him on YouTube. Google him, see his net worth, and then go to YouTube. And then, you know, he has videos on videos on videos. And when you see his net worth, you may think he'll be an asshole, but he's a king, man. He's a great guy, and he white. So like I don't see anything other than like, man, that's a great human being. I mean, I know he's white. I mean, I have eyes, but he's a great person, no matter the skin color. You know, Tony Robbins is somebody I listen to very, very often, what he's done in life. Inky Johnson, Les Brown, these are individuals that have done things that I wanted to do in life. But then obviously with the music, me studying guys like Drake, you know, just watching their story, Jay-Z. They say if you want to be a leader of the future, you got to study the leaders of the past. And it's the truest thing. And whatever you want to do, it's just a matter of, okay, let's say if you're podcasting, I would always, if I'm mentoring, I do that as well. I'm asking a question. Well, you're in this space. Who are you looking to? Who are you looking up to? Who's the big guy? The big girl? Who's making the big money? Who's getting a million streams a week? Right? I mean, who's doing it big? Okay, they're doing it big. Now go figure out how they started. Where'd they get the name from? Like, what was their idea behind their podcast? Do you know? Do you care? Because that's going to be the thing that leads you to that level. But my mentality came from a company called World Financial Group. It's the truth. I joined a company called World Financial Group in 2017. And it was a network marketing company. We sold life insurance. We built teams and sold life insurance. People would actually like try to label like network marketing is like pyramid scheme. And it is a pyramid. It's just not a scheme. And, you know, it's like everything else. You know, the military is a big pyramid, you know, everything.
It's capitalism. This is America, is what it is.
Right. So, but me being in that space, network marketing is very big on personal development. And that's where my eyes got open to, leaders and speakers how to actually be a leader. And me, I was in that company for about 3 years before I transitioned, but me being in the environment, it changed my mentality. It changed, like, okay, I know our leaders are readers, hearing quotes like that. You will always be what you've always been if you always do what you've always done. Hearing things like that, it's like, okay, I know what I was and I don't want that. So why would I keep doing that? So all those things just led to the changing and the consumption. Like, I know people may want to be better, they just don't know how. I was blessed to be in an environment that I had that exposure. And if you're listening to this right now, you're looking to be better, you cannot attract what you haven't been exposed to. We only live in the context of our conversations. When you think about that, we as people, we only live our life in the context of the conversations that we've had. If you meet somebody who's from the hood, they'll tell you that they didn't know that people weren't selling drugs to get rich. Why? Because nobody in their neighborhood has contextually conversed that to them, so that they don't even know, right? But we learn so many things, but we don't learn everything, right? You have to go out and meet new people and build new relationships, because again, you only live your life. I hope you guys are really hearing me. You only live in the context of the conversations that you have. The amount of money that you believe that you can make, King, is only based on who you've been talking to and what you've been listening to. Your goal right now, whatever that number is in your head, is only based on your environment, who you've been talking to, and what you watch. So if you don't watch people who are grossing 100, 200 million a year, there's no way you're thinking about that. You're not.
Definitely not.
Right. If you're not around people who are already millionaires and, have showed you millions of dollars in their bank account, or people who are on that goal because of their proximity, you're not thinking about that, because we only live in the context of our conversations. So if you want to change your life, change the people you're hanging around, change the conversations that you're having, and everything else will follow suit. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What's the closest thing to your heart? Your ears. That's why they say faith comes from hearing. So it's all about what you consume. That's a great question that you asked me. It's all about what you consume. You change who you are by changing what you consume. I grew up regularly like everybody else. I'm a very regular guy. I believe I'm very unique and different. I'm very special at the same time. But I only found that out through consumption of information. Me getting consumed of knowledge, and I'm finding out about like God. I'm finding out about spirituality. I realized who I was. And most of us we never get the opportunity to realize who we were because we don't seek it. They say that seeking is for the finders. Finding is for the seekers. The finding is for the seekers. People who actually have the desire to, like, let's say if you want to be more fit, let's say you have some trauma from your parents and you want to actually figure out, man, why am I feeling this way? Why do I treat women this way based on how this or whatever? The finding is for the seeker only. So, getting consumed with information and people is the real secret to changing your life.
Absolutely, man. I 100% agree about everything you said. One thing that stands out about what you're talking about is that what people do by nature. Habitually, a lot of different people do a lot of things. When people consume too much alcohol, they have poor decision skills and they don't know how to set healthy boundaries in their life. They'll get things like DUIs. A lot of people, I know more people with DUIs than HUIs. And HUI is when you have habitual, unwavering intent. And that is something that's so important. You have to have habits that are consistently sewn into you're unwavering within, and you have to be tenacious and almost violently pursue your goals with unwavering intent. And it's something that's so important, man. I cannot stand how many DUIs I hear about. DUIs kill so many people in this world, and people will talk about drinking every single day. Let's go to the club. Let's go ball. Let's go feel like we're actually achieving something new when they aren't working towards their goals with very, very powerful intent. So HUIs is something that I definitely want to hear more about from people. It's something Absolutely. That when I heard it for the first time in my head, I was sitting there writing down notes from speakers I was listening to, like Les Brown, ET, and even listening to you, I get inspired to say something. So when you were just speaking now, I just came up with that thought. Habitual unwavering intent. I think it's so important to have those habits, because discipline is a main contributor to weeding out and clipping the seeds and stems out of the bag that you want to smoke of life, right? So I really, really admire that, man. One
Thank
thing
you.
that I love that you do in your music, you always have a powerful message behind a couple ones that, and I think the most recent one, Racks In, is really stands out. The lesson, it's just literally just lesson after lesson, and it's playing, and it's also tapping into the hearts of what people already know. People already can feel they want to be better in their heart, and you're kind of feeding the soul, and I really admire that. What inspires you to make music like that?
Um, Man, that's who I am. You know, I've always been like an encourager. Well, let me not say always. Navy changed my life, man. I'm super grateful to have been in the military. I don't I'm not encouraging other people to go, but for me though, it changed my life because me going to boot camp, man, I realized that I was a leader. You know, I realized that, and making people feel good when you are in a position of like influence and people just naturally like you. Like people just naturally like me. Some people just naturally hate me because people naturally like me too. But I recognize that I've always kind of had that attention, you know. So what I love to do is help people who don't get that attention, you know. Like me making music, man, I get so much love and people sharing. Like you see on my story, people sharing it. I just started making music, bro. Like I'm not acting like I'm entitled. I'm entitled to the support, man. People just really liking it, but that's kind of who I've developed myself into. Like I'm just somebody. I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to be an encourager. I'm trying to motivate. So when I first started making music, I'm just making music. Just I realized that I had the voice. I could sing, and I can kind of. I got the wordplay, but through meditation, and I recommend that for everybody. I think silence is a secret to clarity. You know, it's so noisy outside. You know, even when you wake up in the morning, your alarm is noisy as hell. Even if you got the phone on silent, the vibrate is loud. You know, it's so noisy out here. And the best thing for us to do is go to a place of silence so we can gain focus, gain control over our mind, gain control over how we're thinking, you know, because we're such powerful beings, all of us, every single one of us. So me gaining that clarity through meditation, I my higher when you meditate, your higher self reminds you of who you are and who you could be. In my opinion, you only find that out through meditation. Like you need to sit in silence. It's so noisy outside. It's so noisy to TV. Like you don't really get a chance to hear yourself, and hear your higher power, whatever you believe in. But through meditation, you know, just my intent, because I made a lot of money over my life. You know, I just turned 30 and I've had a really good run since I've been out the military, like for real. Like it's been extremely different. Like, you know, it's just truth. And I want people to know that you can get out the military and completely change your life. You know what I'm saying? Like compared to the military, like, yo, I'm balling. I ain't balling, but hey, you know, compared to what I was
Re-up.
here, I'd have had months where I did in a whole year in the military, like just no cap. So that came through me having to drive, but now my intent is through my understanding about who I am. So me collaborating my drive to become successful, ultra successful, and my intent to be this individual in life led to me creating the lyrics and the style of way that I make music, and something I'll continue to do. Music is artists. Let me say that artists are the most influential people on earth. I think that I can convince and talk anybody into that if they allow me to explain my purpose. Like for them, it's all, everybody has a different reason, but music is the most influential thing in our life. You think about how men dressed in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? Where it come from? The
The
afros that
artists.
they had. Where'd it come from? Like smoking the weed. Where'd it come from? Like all those things, even how men treat women. You know, you hear me, everybody's a P now. All the women on Instagram, they saying you got to be flying them out, spending the money on them, taking all these, and although it's not like that for everybody, I know all women aren't like that, but you're seeing that a lot in cultures. And where's it coming from? It's coming from the music.
Hmm.
It is like the old school. You got Isley Brothers, you know, they talking about all these things in their music, which is great. They make great music. The Temptations make great music, but then it led men to behaving a way towards women and women behaving a way towards men. It's just the truth. And as music has changed, the behavior in the humanity is also changing. More people are dying. Why? Because there's more people talking about killing in their music.
They spin it every day.
every day, and you are what you consume.
Mm.
Faith comes from hearing. As they say, as a man, I said this already, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what's the closest thing to your heart? Your ears. So your faith comes from hearing. Who you believe that you are, what you could be, comes from what you hear. So if you hear music more than anything, and you hear him, Papa Perk, do this, do that, I got an op, you naturally, you're a little on your toes when you leave the house because you think people are against you because of the music you're listening to. Like, all these things are based on consumption. So for me, I'm like, man, I really have a big influence. I see people love me. They listen to me. They be following me, listen to what I be saying. Let me try to be the example in the world. Like, let me try to set a path. I'm not the perfect guy. I do dumb stuff. I do stuff, but I don't have to promote that I do it though. I can promote the positivity. I can promote me trying to encourage you through music. And that's my intent. That's my intent to, be able to have some feel good music, have you thinking, like reminding you of, what you can do. You're hearing certain bars, if your why doesn't make you cry, the price of success will probably be too high. Get out the window, get in the mirror, focusing on what they're doing will make your vision more clear. Me saying those things and the more you hear it, because we are what we consume, the more you hear it, it's like, nah, let me get my shit together. Excuse me, let me get my stuff together, And that's my intent. That's my whole intent. Like, if anybody goes back and look at anything I've ever posted on my page since I've been in the military, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, a lot of stuff on Facebook is still there. You will see, when I was super acne faced, before I had veneers, before I had money, I was still telling people, hey, you could do this. Hey, you could be this. Hey, you could do that, because I believe it in myself. And I learned that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And as I grew, because of what I consumed, because of my understanding, I realized who I am. It's not that I'm perfect, or I think I'm more special than anybody else. I believe that I realized that I'm special because of my consumption. Earl Nightingale says that success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The progressive realization of it's the progressive realizing of who you are, the progression of realizing what you can do. They say the further you go, the further you realize you can go. The more you do, the more you realize you can do. And success, you said it looks so different, right? Let's say for you, if your goal is to be not the number one podcast in the world, but you want to be the top 100 podcast on the planet, and that goal makes you $500,000. Someone that makes $500,000 a month may tell you that you're not successful. But success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, not my worthy ideal, your worthy ideal. So if I want to be a teacher, and I started off a journey to become a teacher or a professor, or something that's a little bit more challenging, and I became that person is successful because that's what they sought to do. That's what they chose to do with their life. That means that they're successful. So for me, I'm just trying to create music where I can just remind people, like, man, whatever you want to be, you can be. Get out the window, get in the mirror.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's absolutely one of the most important things that you can do as an artist is influence others in a positive way. With all the negativity, you spoke about it, violence in the streets, the corruption of our culture, which is violence. Violence is seen as a normal talking point for between children in elementary schools, and it's scary. You can go on it. There are all these viral videos of kids in Snapchat with guns in their backpack, multiple SBRs and everything else, and it's really, really alarming to me, the effect of that culture has on society. People eat it up. And I think that you putting out something positive is not just a flower, a rose blooming from the concrete, or something that people can consume and be better and be more positive. But I think it is needed. It is absolutely needed.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. During the I listened to Shop Bags the other day, and Best Friend is one of my favorite songs on there. It reminds me of the relationship that I have with my circle, and not just with my wife. Obviously, me and her, we're real tight. We've been working together at being better and always developing successful moments and
Yeah.
watering our seeds every single day, and that's great. But I can't do it without more music like that, man, because I definitely love that song.
Yeah.
How important is it to
Yeah.
have a circle of good people? And I'm not just talking about as partner or being
Mhm.
in a relationship, having
Yeah.
a circle and a team that believes in you. How important is that for one's success?
Okay, this is a double-edged sword. Okay,
Mhm.
so what I'm about to say is a fact that's not true. It's a fact that's not true. You need that, but you don't need that. You have to be it to create it. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So as you become, you attract who you are. You know, they say that we don't attract who we want, we attract who we are. I'm sure with your wife, you can see so many things like, wow, like I do that. Wow, like dang, you do that
Mhm.
too. Like, you know, because your vibe attracts your tribe. So you need to be around people who are supportive, who believe in you, who trust you, you know, who are willing to, you know, support you when they need to. But are you that? How do you speak about people behind their back? Are you encouraging? Do you support? Do you share people's stuff on your page, or do you do these things that if you don't, your vibe isn't going to even attract a type of tribe? You know,
Mm.
that comes back again with what you're consuming, what you're learning about. You know, learning is fundamental. They say that, but you know, the reason why I'm kind of against school a little bit is because it almost tricks you in convincing you that learning is a chore and learning isn't fun and learning is stupid and learning leads to nothing. You know, people get a degree and they don't do anything. Kids hear that. Us adults, we hear that and we believe that education leads to nowhere. And really, let education leads to everywhere. It's just that the more you learn, the more that you earn. So yeah, the music, and it's just a fun thing to do, man. It is. It's just a fun thing to do. I want to create more vibes. I recognize I recognize what it brought out of me. You know, I listened to what the song that made me start rapping is by Gunna. And it's a song called Empire. So the song it's two-part song. It's called So Far Ahead and then Empire. And then on the song, you know, on Empire, it just sound like a gospel. Like, they ain't think we get the cream. Now we're living out our dreams and the whole world ours. Like, it's like a gospel song. Like, to me, that's what me and my boys call it. And I recognized that it was like, I'm motivated. Like, I'm trying to go do something. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go make a call. I'm trying to make a sale because of the feeling that the music gave me. I'm like, damn, what if I could be this? You know, like, I want to motivate and encourage. People could see it on my Instagram, but what if I could do that through the music? You know, because something that you listen to music, you listen to me sing and rap more than you listen to me talk. It's just a natural thing for people to do. So what if I can just take what I'm saying on this interview? Once you post it, I'll go back and I'll piece it up. Like, man, oh, I remember I said that. Oh, let me try to see if I can put that in a song, you know? And that's kind of how I do it.
Damn, man. Well, I really do it. I really admire that. I think it's important that we can, as a human being, like as me for just individually, something that I wanted to do as of last year. I wanted to put out more content than any other podcaster in the United States, and I beat out 99% of them. And it's just by having regular conversations with people who are great. I don't usually try to share my story because my story is there's a lot of negativity in there. But having positive people with positive mindsets, with alpha mentalities, without being an alpha male, because an alpha male will be bombastic, egotistical, and all these things. But the Bravo male is always the one who comes out on top because he's patient. He makes moves. It's a chessboard. And this life thing is a marathon. There's times where you're gonna get the runner's high, and you're gonna be able to move a little faster, open up your legs more because you stretch more than the person next to you, and these
Right.
things. But
So
not always. Not always.
that's
There's
very true.
one thing. There's one last thing I have to know. I just have to know, what does the future look like for you? Because you are definitely, my friend, on the pathway to success and pathway to greatness, because you're influencing others every day with positivity. And when you help other people, they help you as well. And it's
Right.
going to it's just going to bounce off. Networking, empowerment of other human beings is the most beautiful thing. And also, the best gift you can give anybody in this life is time. So you spending your time helping multiple people and just tapping into the internet, and it's going to affect people in Bosnia, in Brazil, in Italy. You know, you're affecting the entire world. What's the future for you look like?
In the next 2 years or so, I'll be one of the biggest artists to come out of Dallas, Texas ever. In the next 5 years, I'll be one of the biggest artists on the planet. In the next 10 years, you know, Timothy Wright will be a global brand, a global empire. And it's infotainment, education and entertainment, education and music. You know, I have a great group of people, you know, where we do and learn multiple things. I have super successful guys, and I have successful friends in selling life insurance. I have successful friends who just entrepreneurs. They have waste management companies, trucking companies, you know, like people who are millionaires and they're not even 30 yet, or they're 30, barely in their 30s. And I believe that the world just constantly just needs people who are willing to help and entertain at the same time. People love both. People love to be educated and entertained. So if I can be the entertainment side with, you know, my influence, me continue to perfect my craft and my ability to sing and make music and write and rap, and also my ability to speak. I think like I want to be the first artist to have us, you know, I haven't said this publicly before, but I want to be the first artist to have a motivational speaking tour and a music tour going on simultaneously. And I don't mean like a motivational speaking tour where I'm going to, you know, little gigs here. I mean like Les Brown motivational speaking tours, Tony Robbins, you know what I'm saying? We want to fill up arenas, inspiring and encouraging people the same way we fill up arenas with entertaining people with music. So that's what I desire to do. And then you know, provide a lot of opportunity along the way, help other people be able to you know, become debt free. I wouldn't even say becoming debt free. You don't want to be debt free, guys. You want to die with debt as much as possible. As much as possible. Your net worth is determined by that, you know. So it's a trick. You know, as people tell you, no, you need to be debt free. No, you don't. Buy more real estate, buy some stuff, stay in debt, use their money, and use the profits from what you're using for their money to pay them back, and you keep the profits and do stuff for your family. But yeah, man, I just want to create a legacy. I want to create a dynasty. I just want to help people. So I believe it's going to take me far, but I also do believe that, you know, it may take me some places that's unfathomable that I haven't thought about yet, just because I know my intent is so strong, that, yeah, 2-year, 5-year, 10-year. That's it right
Excellent. There. Excellent. Well, I definitely look forward to the future, and I know everyone tapping in once they listen to some of your stuff is definitely gonna you know, be excited as well. I don't think there's anything better than people who are successful when they leave the military. I would say you have a semi and multiple, and you have a semi successful transition, because I don't think your transition ever stops once you leave the military. You just keep thinking back to that one guy who pissed you off in the hallway, but the lesson he gave you in the middle of it as well. So I don't think it ever stops. You can never stop learning from the past. But you got to look towards the future. And I know you're doing that. I cannot wait to see what you have planned for us next, whether it's pulling up in cars with signs and stopping traffic and with signs hanging out the top of the cars about what you're doing. I think that is thinking outside of the box, man. I want to see more of that.
We're not done with that. We're actually going to do that a little bit tomorrow. I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but yeah, tomorrow we're actually going to go downtown or in Frisco area and do that as well. So yeah, man, just marketing ourselves. And I'll end with this, man. First of all, you know, go to Himothy. You can search Himothy on any platform, Himothy DFW on any platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Himothy DFW on all platforms. You can search Himothy on Apple Music and YouTube, YouTube, Spotify. Listen to my music, check it out, read the lyrics. But lastly, man, I would tell you what God told me. He told me that the more that you expose your greatness to life, the more I'll expose life's greatness to you. So I would encourage whatever that you're doing, or whatever you want to do, lean in. Don't worry about what people are thinking about. The fact that they're thinking about you lets you know you're doing something right. If they're not thinking about you at all, that means you're not doing any damn thing. Keep going. I believe in you. And man, I hope to see you at the top.
Excellent. I appreciate that very much, my brother. Thank you for everything, and thank you for all my listeners today. This has been another episode of Off the Even Podcast. As always, please head over to the Facebook page, and I will posting his information, his links in the description so you can tap in. Please go listen to Rax in today and give yourself some mental food, my brothers and sisters. Take it easy. Much love, y'all.